Today we have a very interesting theme. We will sew the Tilda doll, which has been thought out by the Norwegian artist Tony Finnanger in 1999. Each product of this master is a licensed author's toy, which is recognized and favored all over the world. Many needlewomen use idea, design and patterns of Tony to decorate their homes with unusually lovely and textile things. Hello, my name is Natasha Fokhtina, and I'm glad as always to welcome you in our studio. Today we have the most interesting lesson. We will sew the Tilda doll. The idea of sewing such doll, as well as the other textile toys, are made in the same style, belongs to the Norwegian artist Tony Finnanger, who in 1999 has shown to the world the first product. Now, each her Tilda is a licensed toy, and her ideas of a pattern and design use masters worldwide. Certainly, if you sew a similar toy, it won't be your author's. And even if you decide to change it slightly and add something from yourselves, anyway, it will be a toy in Tilda style. But for this who wants to make simply beautiful thing and to decorate with it the house, there will be no problems. After all, to sew such toys is very simple and interesting. I notice that the Tildas are very recognized, as Tony has sought out certain rules on which they are sewed and style which unites all of them. For example, if to take the Tony's books in which, by the way, there are patterns, looking at any picture at once it becomes clear that everything that you see can live in one house. In other words, there is a certain style which unites all products of this artist. What characterizes these toys? The textile toys, and they are made only of natural fabrics, flax or cotton. By the way, toned fabrics, which can be painted by aniline dyes, that the skin of a toy girl, for example, was sun-tanned, are also used. By the way, many masters paint a fabric by the tea and an onion's peel, but it's rather laborious and dangerous method, as the aging of the materials in these dolls isn't welcomed, and the fabric coloring should be steady. Tildas fill with a synthepon and hollow fiber, prudently and evenly. Good and hard stuffing is the main thing. And there is one more accent at these dolls. Hair should be made from a volume and soft yarn, and their faces are relative, in other words, are drawn or embroidered two dots. In other words, close-set eyes and ruddy cheeks are put by cosmetics, for example, the blush. The clothes of these dolls are better sewn from a fabric for patchwork, new and beautiful, and not to take for this purpose old rags. I suggest begin our work and you will understand if you want to sew with your own hands your first Tilda or not. I'm sure that you will want and not one. So, today we sew here such small doll. For work, we need to prepare a paper pattern, a flax fabric wrap, a cotton fabric of two coloring approaching each other, a stuffed synthepon or hollow fiber, satiny thin ribbons, a natural yarn for making a hairdress of the doll, natural laces, a volume counter on fabrics, cosmetic blush, a wooden stick for stuffing, and the sewing machine. I recommend sew the details on the sewing machine, as the accuracy of work here is very important. As I already said, Tilda dolls are sewed on Tony Finnanger's original patterns. Therefore, we invent nothing, and we put them to a linen fabric fold, double, and circled by a pencil. Our doll consists of 3 details, such body with a head and 2 hands. Further, we need to fasten a fabric to sew the pattern details. it's accepted to pin a fabric, but as I lose them all time, and my relatives find them through the house, sometimes at all without assuming to do it, I use a stapler for a paper. It holds a fabric very conveniently and strongly. Or by pins, or as I, by a stapler, we have fixed the material and have sewed all the details on the sewing machine directly on a pencil line. Here, we don't need join margins. Here all is easier. Have stitched and cut out, indenting from a seam half a centimeter. By the way, don't forget to hold in reserve on the details not protected small holes, through which it will be necessary to turn out and fill them. And one more. Before start, to turn out our sew details, we need to do one very important work. To glue, using the textile glue, the places which we will make cuts here on a neck and at feet. We make it that after the stuffing there won't be the strapped places and that the seam hasn't hold. Put the glue, dry, and make cuts using the scissors a fabric does. And after that we take a stick for stuffing. With its help we turn it out, and then we fill our details. For stuffing, we use a syntheple or hollow fiber. I notice that stuffing is the most difficult and perhaps labor-intensive process in making of toys. Therefore, it's necessary to be patient and to make everything accurately. Tight and steady stuffing is the groundwork of that your toy will be remarkable. We sew up, fill details with a secret seam, and at once we pass to making a hairdress of our doll. At first, using a pencil, we mark a hair parting to which we will sew the strands. The classical Tilda should have a fluffy hairstyle, but show how it needs to work with it is more conveniently to me on such cotton yarn. At first, it's necessary to prepare 10 or 14 strands on 4 pieces. We take a ruler or any stick, and on it we measure them. This is 1 strand. And we begin to sew the strands to the head. We make it like this. We take out a needle with a thread from the forehead in the line marked by the pencil, put a strand from 4 pieces and fix it here by the needle, taking a step back and taking out the needle hardly above. Put the next strand and fix in the same way. So, we make it until you don't like the hairdress of your doll. Well, and to finish the most difficult operations on Tilda sewing, you can cut and coiffure it how you like, and go to select the materials to begin to dress your doll. I'm sure that if you sew a warp of the doll and get a haircut, you dress your doll without any problems. We take any fabrics for patchwork, as I already said, natural and new, and we choose from them 2 pieces close in color in drawing. From one cut, we will sew the breeches for our Tilda. We take a fabric, fold it half and half, put to it our doll, and we think about the length and the width of the product. We mark and cut out. We should cut out at once on breeches the armhole and to pass to dress sewing. We take the material, which will be in harmony with color of the breeches. Put to it here our doll, and 4 times we measure its width. It will be the width of our dress. We cut out this rectangle and we fold it half and half. Now we need to make sleeves. We fold again a fabric half and half, put to it a hand of the doll and circle it by the pencil like this, a half centimeter more. Pin together and cut out with joint margin. And we can take the sewing machine and sew all the details. We should have 2 sleeves, dress and breeches. And don't forget, if you want to sew at once the laces to the dress and also to the breeches. Now there comes my favorite moment. We dress up our doll. It's absolutely simple. We begin with the breeches. We put our Tilda in the sewed detail. And using pins here so we fix the breeches to her waist. Now we make the tags to remove the excessive volume. We removed the excessive volume and sew the breeches on the waist by their secret seam. And to make the fitting from below, the easiest way is to ribbon a needle and to stitch them by the basting seam, then to pull together and tie a bow. We do the same with the second trouser's leg. By the way, we make the dress by the same principle. We take our sewed rectangle and also as the breeches we put it on the ribbon. Further, we put the doll in the dress. And tighten it on the neck here such a bow. Everything isn't so difficult, and it turns out very beautiful and lovely. And now the sleeves. We turn out our blanks, put on them the hands of our Tilda, and we sew them by secret seam at the wrist. Here it's possible to sew a lace, and it's possible, as well as my variant, to decorate a sleeve with a ribbon. Further, we should fix the hands to the doll. You can simply to sew them to the dress, and it's possible to make the button clip. In this variant, they will be flexible. It's not difficult to make it. It's necessary to pierce through a needle with a thread, all blanks, and to sew them through the buttons on each side. And after that, we need only to draw the eyes and to put color in the cheeks of our Tilda. At first, we mark using a pencil the eyes and we draw them using the textile paint, simply make two spots. And the cheeks is easier to put by cosmetic blush or a dry pastels. And that's all. Your doll is ready, though with the wings, and on the stand it will look more interesting. But you will make it without me. I'm simply sure in it. It seems to me that I have told you everything that I knew about the Tildas. Probably you will find much more information, and I'm sure you will like these lovely dolls and will sew many of them. And my task was to show you that actually it was completely not difficult and fascinating, and I hoped I have coped with it. At least I like my Tilda very much, and I know to whom I will present her. To one very good and obedient girl. I like to make the original gifts and make happy with them my friends. And I want to give you one more advice. Take a delight in work and try your hands in all creative directions which are accessible to you. And suddenly it will appear that you were mistaken and that the textile dolls are what you need for happiness instead of a decoupage or an embroidery ribbons. Though it is absolutely not obligatory to become the Tilda monks, simply sometimes it's necessary to digress from favorite kinds of needlework. As one master said, that Tildas not simple bewitch, you fall in love with them forever. The Tilda doll isn't so difficult to sew, it's difficult not to sew it. So join. And with you today there was Natasha Fokhtina. Good luck and goodbye.